Welcome back. We are still talking some sports, but it's time to take it to the national level. And Trey, it's time to pick up the pieces for the Ravens.
Yeah, the games are over, but the season never really stops. Off-season time in Baltimore. Our Angela Santoro has more on what changes we might see next year in Charm City. Angela?
Thanks, guys. Now, the Ravens season might be over, but there is still a lot to discuss in the NFL. We have Brent Harris, CSN Ravens insider, on the line to talk some football for just a few minutes. First, big news right now is Gary Kubiak. Do you think he'll be leaving to Denver?
He certainly has a long history there. He was drafted, played there. He was a backup quarterback to Elway, and he was the offensive coordinator for a decade there as well. So he has a strong connection to the Broncos. It would be a major blow to the Ravens. First and foremost, the Ravens offense really made some huge strides this past season. I think the concern is, one, you lose a great coach. Somebody has made a huge difference, but two, you could also end up losing multiple coaches. So the Ravens are holding their breath. They're hoping that he decides to stay.
Okay, well, sticking with offense for just a minute, Torrey Smith, 11 touchdowns on the year, and he's also made a huge impact on this Ravens offense. He's also a free agent, so do you think that he will be back in Baltimore next year?
Well, the Ravens want to keep Torrey Smith, and Torrey Smith wants to remain with the Ravens. The question is, as a free agent, how do other teams value Torrey Smith? What would they offer him, and do the Ravens want to pay that money, depending on what that money is? And Ozzie Newsome has always said right player, right price. And so, the Ravens really feel like he could be a big part of what they do in the offense, but it's going to come down to what's his value in the open market, and if the Ravens feel like that fits their team.
Okay, well, getting on to the topic of free agency, what kind of advances should the fans expect to see from the Ravens this offseason?
For the most part, the Ravens won't have a ton of turnover, but the area they need to focus on the most is going to be the secondary. Jimmy Smith, who they lost to injury, you're not sure how he'll come back. Lardarius Webb is due a lot of money, and quite honestly, the secondary was the weakest part of the team last year. So they've got to address that, whether it's in the draft or in free agency, but that's going to be probably their biggest focus of the offseason.
Brent, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It looks like the Ravens can do a lot of big things this offseason, but for me, main focus right now, you do not want to lose Gary Kubiak. Guys?
Yeah, that would definitely hurt, but I think the writing's on the wall. He seems to be on out the door. You got to address that secondary if you want to take that next step.
Yeah, losing Kubiak would definitely hurt, but he brought so much to that offense. Whoever gets that coordinator position needs to go in demanding that these pieces are re-signed. Justin Forsett and Torrey Smith for one. Those are two that come to mind.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Big offseason for him. All right, it's time for our last commercial break, but coming up next is what you have all been waiting for, the best 60 seconds in sports. Our top plays are on the way.
Hi, I'm Julius Sneed, and I wrestle for the Indians. I wrestle 126, and I'm watching Del Mar Sports Insider.